Hello, my name is Mandy. I am with Scott Leroy Marketing, and today's class is Database Overview. If you are here with me live, you can definitely put any questions or comments in the chat as we go through. I will try to get those answered for you in real time. If we get done a little early today, I can stay for a couple of minutes as well and help get questions answered then. And if you're watching this back on recording, you can always reach out to us via email. It's support@scottleroymarketing.com. All right, so as you can see, I'm already logged into Command here. This class is going to be, again, database overview. This is an overview of your command contacts, and I'm going to show you how to, number one, get your command or get your contacts into command, right? And then second of all, I'll show you how to go through and actually how to organize, sort your contacts, get them ready for marketing, um, and things like that. I'll show you a little hidden menu as well that's in your command contacts tab that a lot of people don't know is there until you start fiddling with it. I'll show you all the benefits of that. And also, we'll wrap up showing a little bit of the back end settings that you probably won't access a lot, but I want you to know where they live just in case you ever need them. So, first things first, let's go ahead and look at how to import contacts into your command database. Right over here, your contacts tab is the second icon down from the top, little person in a square. We'll give that a click. If you're not familiar with the icons just yet, you can always come up here to the red KW square and click that. It will pop those names out for you. And you can click it again to hide them if you need to. Okay. So for importing, for getting your contacts added into command, there's a few ways. The first way I won't be showing you, but we have a tech tip video to show you how to do it. And that is you can literally import your contacts on your phone directly into Command mobile app. So I do have a tech tip video out on YouTube for that. If you want to check it out, you can do that. The other way here on a desktop version with Command is over here on the right-hand side, you can choose to import contacts in bulk, meaning, more than one, or you can actually manually add one contact at a time. I'm going to go through both of these with you briefly, just so you know how to do it and get it done. So right here for the import, if you give that button a click, right here, it will give you the option to download the template. This is a spreadsheet that already has labels in the header, so that you know exactly what to fill in to each column for your contacts. Or you can use your own custom spreadsheet. Maybe you've just made one super basic, name, email, phone number. You can also use that to import into Command. There's pros and cons both ways. So I'm going to show you that briefly just so you're aware and have a heads up of which one you would prefer to use. Okay. First, I'm going to show you how to do it using the actual command template right here. You would just want to click to download that template onto your device and open it. I've already got it opened, so I'm just going to open that here. And this is what it looks like. I have it zoomed in, but I'm going to scroll over to the side just so you can see how robust this guy is. There's a lot of columns, lots of headers. To me, that's a pro, only because it might suggest a piece of information that you haven't thought to include with your contacts. So you do not have to fill in every single column. As long as your contacts have a first name over here in this first column, the contact will import. So I'm going to go through this with you here just to show you some of the formatting that you need to do on this template. This is the labor intensive part. So I guess you could say this is the con to using the command template, because this is where the work and the elbow grease comes into play. But on the back end, when you actually upload this file into command, that's the easy part. It usually has less errors than a custom file would. So if you're willing to do the elbow work up front, it will help you in the long run. So let me go through this briefly here just to show you some of the things that you want to keep in mind when adding your contacts to this particular template. Again, must have a first name. So we're going to name our person. Very original, I know. And so You can go through each one of the columns here. The first 5 columns are going to do with that person's name, actually, first 6 columns, and you can add their full legal name if you want, but these are all optional. You can add them or not. And then the next column for the about, general information, think about maybe where they work, something unique that you know about that person that will help you remember your connection with them. Um, and then the key dates section right here, these 3 columns, excuse me, these 2 columns, apparently counting is a challenge on Wednesdays, but you have birthday and home anniversaries. You can essentially use any format for the date here, guys. You can use periods, you could use hyphens. It doesn't matter. Um, Enter it like you would like to. Um, Even this, let me use hyphens just so you can see. So, well, it auto formats, but you can use pretty much any format in either one of these columns. The key is you desperately need to have all 3 pieces of the date, month, day, year. It can even be in military format where you're putting the day, month, and year, but you need to have all 3 key pieces in order for it to import correctly. Okay, so if you only have a partial date with a day and a month, you might not want to include it. Maybe you'll want to stick that in the notes column instead, because it won't import to the date field correctly. Okay, so I just want to point that out. Um, Next is cell phone. You have 3 different phones that you can add per contact. I'm going to kind of minimize our columns here so I can get them all on the screen. Give me 2 seconds. There we go. So we have a cell phone column, home phone, and work phone, and other phone. Again, counting on Wednesday is difficult, guys. It's actually 4 instead of 3. Don't worry, I'm a paid professional. I really do know what I'm doing. All right. So you would add whatever phone numbers you do have for these contacts. Okay. If you just have one phone number, that's fine. If you don't have any at all, that's fine too. But you just want to enter the phone number in which column you feel is most appropriate. It can be in any format, hyphens, decimal points. That's all fine. Even if you have parentheses, maybe around an area code, that's okay too. The quirky thing here is that international numbers will not import correctly from these columns. If you have an international number that includes a country code, I recommend adding that into the notes field on this template. That way the data is at least kept, it's retained, it will import into command, and then you can go and add it back into the phone number field once it's in command. But I just want to give you a heads up. We have a lot of agents that try to get international numbers imported and it will error out if they're in one of these columns. Okay. So put it in the notes field so you keep your data and don't lose it. You'll just want to go in and make a manual adjustment on that particular contact. Once you enter your phone number here, we'll just enter a phone number. It will probably error out if I don't use a valid one. Just a second as I grab our Scott Leroy marketing phone number. There we go. And so you can use this, um, or excuse me, you can use a phone number. It will verify if they're a valid phone number. So just keep that in mind. Um, by chance, that's just a random phone number. Sorry if it actually applies to anybody. And so once you get your phone numbers in, you'll want to pay attention to these columns right here. There's a column after each phone field that I've highlighted here in gray. It's asking you to tell command which phone number is primary, which one is the one that you want to use for marketing. If you send text through command or something like that, you'll want to put a capital Y in the column beside the number to the right of the number that is primary. Only use one capital Y. Only one phone number can be marked primary. Okay, so you can actually skip all the other columns. You only have to mark one of the phone numbers primary. Okay, put those questions in the chat as I'm going if you have any questions about what I'm going over. I'm going to travel on to the right, and this is going to be our emails. Now we have our email fields. This is the one with three, by the way. Really, it's really three this time. It's not four. Okay. And so you'll see that you have personal email, work email, and other email columns. You can add as few or as many emails as you would like into these columns, one email per column if you have them. Once you enter your email, there we go. You again want to mark which one is primary. Which one do you want command to use as marketing when sending emails out or reaching out to this contact? So just add a capital Y to the right of the email that you want to be the primary. Okay, moving on along. Now we get into our physical addresses. You have primary address, and these are the fields that go along with that. Address line 1, 2, city, state, zip code, and country. And these two little guys over here to the right. Let me scoot back a little bit. There we go. So you'll want to put in your address if you have a physical address for these or for this contact. Pick a state, MP. Isn't that Montana? Okay, there we go. The country is optional. If you know it, great, enter it. If you don't, it's okay too. But these two columns right here, you'll want to pay attention to. If you enter an address, you'll want to add a label. It needs to either be home, work, rental, vacation, or other. We'll just say work. And we have that capital Y again. Is this the mailing address? If you are entering a physical address for the contact, you will want to mark it as the mailing address, whichever address it is you enter. If you include a primary and you also have other addresses that you add here, one of them will just need to have that Y to be marked as mailing. If you don't enter physical addresses, don't worry. You don't need to label them. You don't need to mark a Y. Okay. If the address is not there, just keep on going. This brings us to the end of the spreadsheet. And I know this is a lot to chew on up front, guys. Again, this is just showing you how to use the template within Command to get your contacts imported. Here's the best news probably that you'll hear all day. With us at Scott Leroy Marketing, we can help do this for you so that you don't have to reformat this file. So if we work with your market center, you can always send us your file along with your command logins. We can do all this legwork. We can get this formatted, get your contacts in here, and we'll get them imported for you. So don't be overwhelmed. Again, this is just part of the database overview. I want you to be trained to know how to do this on your own, just in case you want to do it. Here at the end of the spreadsheet, we have a tags column. Definitely use tags. If you can think of a word to describe your contacts, add it as a tag. You'll want to separate it with a comma and a space. That way the system knows to actually create them as separate tags. So you can do things like family, um, maybe something that y'all have in common. Um, if you know of something that you want to, let me put it this way. If you know a way to organize your contacts in a way that you'll want to find them, like your group of buyer potential or seller potential, things like that, you can definitely put that in here. So, buyer, maybe seller, whatever you want to put, you get the gist. Add your tags. Over tag. You will never under tag. Organize your contacts. It will help you in the long run when you could do your marketing and command. I do recommend also adding one contact that is the same, excuse me, add one tag to all of your contacts. That way, once you import them, you will be able to trace all the contacts that were on this particular file. Just in case something is wrong, something needs to be corrected, you'll be able to locate all of those contacts that were on this file. So you can add a tag. We at SLM use import and we'll use the date so that we know that was the contacts from this particular import. So you can use that same one if you want. At any point in the future, you can always remove that tag. You don't have to keep it within your system, but use some kind of bulk tag, the same tag for all of your contacts within the file so that you'll know how to trace them and track them down if you need them. Okay. So we've added our tags. Source, this is how you know that particular contact. You can fill that in if you'd like. Um, and then notes, if you have any, can be added there up to 10,000 characters. And then social media, if you happen to have their public profile links for any of these platforms, you can add those in as well. Okay. And that's how you would format the command template. Now, I know that was a little bit, right? But now that we have it done, let me show you how easy it is to actually import. So we'll just save our file and come back to our command screen here. You can drag and drop this file to upload it, or you can click Browse to add a file from your device. So this was our little guy we were working on. So I'm going to choose that. Its upload is right here. It's done, and I can click Continue. It shows you, it would have all of my contacts listed on the left-hand side, and I can kind of review them if I would like to. But see how it's already got all of the correct information matched up for the fields? So now I just click Finalize Import. It's working on it. I can return to contacts. And when you're done, um, okay, so it's just giving me a disclaimer saying it may be a little longer if it's a big file. It's not. Chances are I can go ahead and hit the refresh on my browser. My notification bell has already gone off. The blue banner is gone, and it lets me know my contact import is complete. This one actually failed. It's probably because I included information we already have. Looks like we already have a contact with that name, that number that I had entered. It's okay. You will have a hyperlink right here within your notification where you can actually download the failed import log. It will show you exactly why each contact failed to import if they did. Okay. But this will let you know all of them were imported or it was partially imported. It will let you know all of that within that notification. But see how fast it imported once you got the legwork done for the spreadsheet? Let me show you the custom file just to give you a comparison. Once we're done with this import process, we'll be able to jump in here to command contacts, and I'll show you what to do with your contacts after they're imported. So if you want to use your own custom file, you would still come right here to the import button in the top right. Instead of using that template, you would use your own. I happen to have just a random spreadsheet here. I just have my few little columns, first name, last name, phone number, email. Okay. You can copy and paste your contacts into the spreadsheet, guys, or type them in manually. Same with that template. You could have copied and pasted from another file if you wanted. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and let's just name our guy Bob today. There we go. So put in his first name, last name. Again, as long as your contact has a first name, you're good to go. Add a phone number in if you have it. I'm going to say this guy doesn't have a phone number, and we're just going to add his email. There we go. And if you're doing a custom file, please add a column named tags. That way you're able to locate these contacts once they are in command. You can do that by simply adding the tags right here in the column header. Okay. Go ahead and put your cursor in the tags column and add your tags. Again, we always recommend using import. What's today's date? 04/24. There we go. And then any other tags that you're wanting to add after that, comma, space, buyer, comma, space, family, whatever you want to add as a tag. And then you're done. There's no upfront really formatting for a custom file. The work comes on the back end. So now that we have this, save our file, go back to command, upload our file, and click continue. Here's the legwork. It wants you to match the columns that you had on your custom file to match the fields within the command. Okay, so here's your file columns. Here's the command fields. My column was named first name. So now I need to find the command field that matches first name. My column was name, last name. I gotta find the field that says last name. You get my point? Okay, so this again is where the elbow grease comes in with that custom file. Mapping right here can take a little bit, especially if you had a lot of columns on your file. And this is where human error can come into play. You definitely don't want errors when it comes to your contacts. This is probably the biggest margin for that. If by chance, if you happen to make a mistake with mapping, it could result in you having to archive and delete and start over, or manually updating a lot of contacts to fix the error. So you use your best judgment, whatever you feel is best for your business. I'm a big proponent for using the template that Command provides, and letting us leverage that for you. And so, Marla, on your CSV file, could we not just rename our file to the names for the columns in Command? Sure, you could, but as long as it's a custom file and it's not that exact, I'm going to pull up the yep, the actual template, the command template. See these headers right here? It's a double header and none of them can be deleted or edited when it comes to the headers on that template for it to work. So if you don't have every single column and header, it's considered a custom file and you would still have to do the mapping, even if you had the column names to match exactly. So it's either this template with this exact matching double header, no deletions, no editing, or it would be considered a custom file and you'd still have to go through this process. I hope that makes sense. So we'll keep mapping really quick since we only have a few columns here. For phone number, I'm going to choose to skip to map that because I know my contacts didn't have any phone numbers. For email, we'll try to find primary email and tags. We'll go through the list and find tags. You'll notice it is not in alphabetical order, so that also adds some time here. Once you're done mapping, click continue. It will show that same screen we saw before with your contacts listed on the left, and it'll show all the information on the different fields. And click finalize. It lets you know it's being done. Since there's only one contact, we're going to hit refresh. Check our notifications. There it is. This one was successful. So we should see our contacts in the next few minutes. I did not happen to tag him with my class tag, so give me just a second. We'll go find Bob. There's Bob. Give me just a second to add a tag to him so then he'll show up in our class today. All right, now we're back. There he is. Bob Not Real. Very original name. So he's imported and he will be there now that you can use him. That's how you mass import. And again, you have that mobile option I mentioned at the beginning if you're interested in that. And again, if we're working with, excuse me, if Scott Leroy Marketing works with your market center, we will leverage this for you guys. Don't worry about it. We'll do the legwork to get these contacts in here and organized. So definitely reach out to us if that's something you would like us to do for you. Now that we showed bulk imports, let's actually go through manually adding a contact together. This really will help you get used to the different fields. And so you'll know also, again, additional information that you can add to make your database even more robust. We'll click on add a contact, enter their name. Notice it is a full name field, not a first last name. And then primary email, if you have one. Excuse the save password pop-ups. It's going to do that. Okay. And so it really helps if you can spell too. There we go. And you can choose what type of email that is, personal, work, or other. Enter a phone number if you have one for them. You can also choose what type of phone number it is. Lead source. Again, why do you know this person? How do you know them? Where did it come from? You can select from the list that's right here for lead sources. It's already pretty robust, But if you type in a random lead source that maybe isn't there yet, you can create a new lead source and that way you'll have a label for it. Or you can choose to select from contacts. Maybe you met this person through a mutual friend. You can select from contacts, put your cursor in the field, and it will begin bringing up your contacts, and you can choose which contact to add as that lead source. For this case, we'll say Sally Sample introduced us to them. I'm going to circle back right here to add relationship. I kind of skipped over that. There is a way to add relationships between your contacts. This does have to be manually done. But this means that I can say maybe Sally Sample and our guy here, they are friends, siblings, coworkers, whatever. And I just want to have those contacts linked within my command database, so I'll always see that as a reference. The other benefit of adding a relationship is that if you do have multiple people at the same physical mailing address, when you go to do mailing labels or maybe direct mail campaigns through command, it will send one piece of mail to that physical mailing address with all of their names listed on it instead of sending 6 pieces of mail to the 6 people that live in the same household. Okay, so again, that's the benefit of adding that relationship. So you can click Add Relationship, pick the person that you want them to be linked to, and choose the role or position, relationship, whatever. We'll just say these guys are cousins. Okay. And so you can add that relationship. There'll be another place further down where you can add additional relationships. You can add as many as you want. Okay. Coming on down under lead source, you can mark them as a lead or unmark them as a lead. Lead technically means like you haven't had that real estate conversation with them yet. So if you haven't talked real estate with them yet, you can go ahead and mark them as a lead. Excuse me, clear my throat. And then for tags, you can go ahead and put your cursor here and it will immediately open up all the tags that you have. You can go ahead and start typing the tag that you want to add. If for some reason it's a tag that hasn't been created yet, oh, that's funny, I already had random. Let's do that. You can create a new tag on the fly as you go to go ahead and create that tag. It'll let you pick the color, create the tag, and it will apply that to the contact. You can click more information, and there's a few other sections. Additional contact information. I'll just click on that to open it up. You can choose preferred method of contact, add additional emails. You can continue to add more emails, and you can add more phone numbers if you would like. Here's where the physical addresses are. The first address will be primary. You would just begin to type in the address and choose it from the list and choose what type of address this is. You can choose if it is the same as mailing or not. If it's not, you'll need to go ahead and add another address so that you have a mailing address on file. Again, the marketing through command, like direct mail campaigns, things like that, mailing labels, those will pull from whatever is marked as the mailing address. Coming on down, those social profiles we saw on the template, you can add those here. You would just add the link to their profile and choose what platform it is for. You can add more if you like. For the About section, I'm just going to click on that to expand it. Scroll up. Excuse me. And so the legal name right here, if you want to add one in, description, maybe you have any additional notes you'd like to add about this person. Here's the birthday and the home anniversary. And it looks like we have an update in real time. Remember how I told you it was so critical to have all 3 pieces of information? It looks like we have a brand new update because the year field is missing for the birthday. So I'll have to go and double check on that, but it looks like they may actually be accepting birthdays now without the year. That would be fantastic. I always found it a little awkward if you had to ask your client what year they were born in, right? Um, so there's birthday. That might be an actual great update that we're seeing here. Next is home anniversary. You can choose that if you have it. This will definitely help with marketing like the smart plans, monthly neighborhood nurture. Um, I don't want to butcher your first name. I'm sorry. I was sitting here trying to think of how to say it. I apologize. It looks beautiful. I just don't want to say it wrong. Reading the question out of the chat here. It's essential to add the legal name so when you go to write a contract with a buyer seller, it automatically populates to your paperwork correctly. Good point. Yes, if you want to have this legal name field filled out, it will pull into your opportunities in DocuSign. Otherwise, when you're creating your opportunities, you will have an opportunity to fill in that particular field as well. But yeah, if you already have it here in your contacts, it will automatically pull in for you too. So that definitely helps. Coming on down to relationships. This is where you can add those additional relationships if you want. Next, company name. If you happen to know where they work, you can choose it out of the list and put their job title. And then you have custom area right down here. These fields I can show you at the end of class where to adjust these, but you can essentially have custom fields added onto your contact profiles. Maybe it's something that you always want to know about your particular contacts. Maybe it's your niche in the market. Maybe you always do a pie giveaway every year and you need to know what kind of pie they like. Maybe you're a sports fanatic. You connect with your clients through sports. Maybe you want to know what their favorite sports team is. You can create these custom fields in the back end of your command. And that way they will be right here on the contact profile so that you can easily add them in if you would like. When you choose add a custom file here, or field, excuse me, it will let you choose from the custom fields you've already created on the back end, like I giveaway, and it will actually let you determine what type of field this is. Notice these are text boxes where you can text freely. You can also make it a drop-down option and you enter the different options. Maybe you only give two types of pies away, and so you'll only have that be a drop-down option where you can choose one of the two. And so you can do that and then click create to make your new person, your new contact in command. Pause 1 second. Let me get this question in the chat. Roger, are you going to review the easy method to import your contacts from your phone from Command Mobile? Actually, nope. Just for personal data, there's not an easy way for me to do that without you seeing all of my contacts in my phone. So we have the quick tech tip video on our YouTube channel. I'll be happy to actually share that link with you. Let me grab it really quick since that keeps coming up today. Um, so let's go ahead and I'll grab that tip video for you. I'm going to throw this in the chat here for you again. This is import phone contacts with Command Mobile. There you go. Hopefully that'll help, Roger. All right, traveling on back to our command screen here. This is what it looks like when you're actually in a contact profile. Once you add it, thank you, Roger. I appreciate that. Looking out for your fellows. All right. So this is once you add an individual contact, this is what you will see. This is a contact profile opened. I'm actually going to travel right back to contacts. I want to show you how to get here in general. Okay. And then we'll review it together. When you're looking at your contacts, you can simply click on their name and that will open their contact profile so that you can see that here. Okay. So on the left-hand side is where you will see all that information we were talking about importing, along with when you added the contact, this is where you'll see all of those fields. Okay, so you can just review that here. At the bottom, remember relationships, it'll actually make those quick links where I can just click those and go right over to those other contact profiles for the people that they are related to. And on the right-hand side is essentially your workspace for this particular contact. You'll have a timeline that shows you a history of events with this particular contact, any marketing you do through Command. You can even link your Gmail account to Command, and it will actually show a history of emails that you send to that contact, even if you're emailing them directly out of your Gmail account. Um, so there's ways here to track this activity. If you've called them, text them, run into them at the store. You can add all of that activity here as well. Any tasks you've completed for this person, you get the gist. If they've actually set up an account, if they have logged in onto your KW agent site or your your KW consumer app, and they have their own account, then whenever they go and look at listings, you'll actually see that as well. You would see every listing that they view, every listing that they favor, um, and it'll give you even more Big Brother access here within the timeline. The next tab is opportunities. If you have this contact associated with any opportunities, they would show here. You also have a quick button to jump right into creating an opportunity for this contact if you want. Smart plans, pretty self-explanatory. If they are already set up on a smart plan, you would see it here. You can remove them or add them to any additional smart plans as well. Tasks, these are the tasks that are linked to this particular contact. Notes, any notes you've made about this particular contact, and saved searches. Remember what I mentioned? If they had created their own account on your KW consumer app or your KW agent site, once they've done that, you can actually come in here and create a saved search for them. This is where you set up a particular set of criteria: 3 bed, 2 bath, waterfront, whatever they're looking for in a property. You can set up that criteria here under saved searches, and they would get notifications in their app every time a listing comes on the market that matches that. And you can even set it up to send them email notifications as well if they'd like. This back in the day when I was a producing agent, we used to have to always go into our MLS to create hot sheets and search fields and things like that. Now you can do it all within Command without having to go between the two different systems. So you can create those saved searches here. And guys, this really is good for everybody. We have a tech tip video that'll show you how to walk through the steps to get that done. But I mean, if they are currently owning property, they could have a saved search based on their own neighborhood if they want to keep an eye on their current investment. Maybe they're looking to move, wanting to buy, wanting to rent, whatever it is. It would apply to the people. There's even a way to set it up just for open house notifications if you have any tire kickers in your database that just like to go to open houses. So again, anybody in your database can benefit from a saved search. So that might be a good place to start with some marketing and nurturing that relationship. Right here, I just want to point out before we go, you have an edit pencil right here on the contact profile that will open those fields up again for you to make any changes. And you have 3 dots, little hidden menu. It will just give you an option to quickly add them to a smart plan. Change account is for team members. That's if you actually have a team and you want to move this contact from one account to the other. Resubscribe. Do not be alarmed by this. Everybody has this. It does not mean that they have unsubscribed. And then you have an archive option if you ever want to remove this contact from your database. Okay. And so Rumella says, can you go over how you can see when a buyer visits a listing and you can see it in the timeline? Yeah, absolutely. That's if they create an account on the KW agent site or your consumer mobile app. I'm going to send you a tech tip video on how you can do that. Give me 2 seconds. Um, I'll show you how to create an account on the app. And then once that's done, you can do a save search. So I'll send you both of those. There's that first link for you, and then I'll send you the saved search one too. You're welcome. No problem. All right, and here's the create a saved search in Command. There you go. All right. And so now that we've reviewed the contact profile, let's go back to actually looking at our entire database, and I'll show you some ways to actually get it organized, customize the view. So we'll just go back and click back to contacts. So here we are in our contacts tab. This is kind of your overview here screen. And so I do want to point out, since I mentioned teams just now, if you are a solo agent, you will 100% always see just this contact tab. If you are on a team, you could come click on your name and swap over to your team view or your team account, and then you would see team contacts. So if you're on a team, you might want to pay close attention to this just because you'll want to make sure you're working in the contacts on your correct account, right? If you want to be on your personal, you'll make sure that you're on your personal. You can always tell you're on the personal when personal account shows right here at the top, and it should be your personal name right over here showing in the top left. If you're on your team account, click the team. You'll see team up here in the top right. And then you'll also see the team name right here for contacts. So that should be the giveaway to you to let you know which database you're working on. Okay. I'm going to swap back over to the personal. And from right here, let's talk about how to customize this view. Okay. Oh, Marilyn, got a question. If you drop file of contacts and you realize you didn't add 5 of your contacts, can you upload the whole file again with your without creating duplicates? Fabulous question. Um, Command does have fail safes in place that help prevent duplicates. So if there are contacts already in your command that have the same primary piece of information, primary phone, primary email, or primary physical address, chances are, excuse me, I'm going to limit that primary email and primary phone number. Chances are it will not let them import. It will help block that to prevent duplicates. So if you've already imported them first time, if you try to re-import them again, in a perfect world, they will not import those ones that you'd already done. And it hopefully will grab the 5 new ones. If by chance it does happen to import and create a duplicate in your account, there is a way now to scan your database, find those, and merge them. I'm going to show you that here in just a second. So just know that there, even if it does do that and creates duplicates, there's a way around it, Marilyn. But yeah, so you should be okay. All right. So customizing this view right here. First of all, you can customize these columns. Okay. Right here, customize columns is an option. You're welcome, Annette. Um, you can choose which columns that you want to actually see. I'm going to uncheck a few. And then the ones that I do want to see, you can drag and drop in different order over here. Put them in whatever order you want and click apply. You'll see those update in real time. When you're looking at this in a column view, just notice that some of the columns you can hover over and you'll get this little triangle. Some people call it a caret. And you can actually sort through those different columns as you like. The name column will also do that. Maybe you want to sort by first name instead or last name instead. You can do that. You also have an option to choose a tile view instead of a list view. This is more of the list view. If you choose the tiles, the columns go away, so you lose some of your sorting. Okay. But some agents really love this view. They feel like it's a lot bigger. They can see more detail. It's really up to your preference. Okay. We're going to stick to list view. I feel like it gives me more control over sorting back and forth, especially if you're working on your database to make phone calls or lead gen. So you can do that. You also have the option over here to show up to 500 contacts at a time. If you're working with a larger database, highly recommend always making sure that this is set to up to 500 contacts at a time. That way you're seeing 500 contacts on this page, and you can thumb through the different pages if you want. Now, you also have filters so that you can see different contacts. I'm going to show you these briefly. Um, Let me minimize some of them so I can show you how you can filter your contacts here. excuse me, for these different filters that are listed, you can find those contacts. So maybe there's a particular tag that you're looking for. You can come here and choose a tag to find just those contacts. Agent site connection. This will tell you whether they currently are registered on your app or maybe they're not. And you need to find those contacts that aren't so you can give them a phone call, come from contribution, and be able to say, look, I've got a free resource for you. Right? And so moving on down, you can find contacts also that by their anniversary, smart plans. There's a new filter this week right here for primary email alert. So let me show you this one. When you click on it, it will let you see the contacts that have no alert. This means they haven't unsubscribed or had any undeliverable emails, but this will let you see if they've had any undeliverable emails from you, or let me just say undeliverable contact in general, or if they've unsubscribed. So this is key, especially with the new security features that are instituted by KW in the past couple of weeks. You may want to come and look through this filter just to make sure that you don't have any contacts that aren't receiving your information. Click apply when you're done setting the filters. You do have an advanced filter option up here. It will allow you to add multiple filters and control the conditions. Like maybe you want to see, a partial tag. So you'll say includes any and type in that tag, or maybe you have a partial phone number. So you want to say, what contacts have a 719 area code. Whatever you want to do, you can set it here with more advanced filters and click apply when you're ready, or just switch back to the basic because those are pretty robust too. Okay, when you're done, click apply. It will update this view of your contacts and allow you to see the contacts that fit those filters you just searched for. Now, you can actually create a smart view. Right here, you can save everything you just set up and name it. And that way, whenever you come into command, instead of having to go through and sort through all the filters, adjust all your columns, make sure you're seeing up to 500, you can just come right here to your smart views and pick out which view it was that you wanted to see. If you want to create a smart view, you would click your smart view menu, scroll to the top and create smart view. We'll just name this guy demo, December demo. If I mark it as my default, that means every time I log into command on my desktop, this will be the exact view I see. This is great if you know the first thing you do when you get into your office in the morning is the same tasks with your contacts. Maybe you lead gen first thing when you come in, so you want to see your leads first. Well, go ahead and filter through those contacts, set it to show you your leads, and save yourself a smart view for leads or morning lead gen. Set it as your default and save smart view. And that way, every morning when you come in, you'll know that that's exactly what you see and it'll save you time. Okay. Go ahead and hit Save Smart View if you'd like to save it. And that way you have that quickly to access anytime. Okay. That is the way that you can filter through and organize your contacts. Let me show you that hidden bulk action menu that I mentioned earlier. It lives in this area right here. As soon as you begin checking the box to select a contact or multiple, or you can select all, that's the box right here in the header, you'll notice that your bulk action menu shows up. This menu has a ton of things that you can do. I'm going to go through them very briefly, but I encourage you to come explore. If you need to add an activity or a note to it, to contacts, multiple contacts at one time, this is how you can do it. You can also add tags and remove tags from multiple contacts at one time. You can add to an email list. This has more to do if you're using MailChimp, so I'm not going to go into that as much. You can bulk add contacts to a smart plan. You can archive. This means you would move the contact out of your command database and into your contact archive in the background, in the back office settings. I'll show you those in a minute. There's that change account again if you want to change the contacts over to your team account. You can even export. Now, there's other options to be able to export your entire database, but this particular option right here will export the contacts that you're currently selected. Maybe it's a specific tag or group of contacts. You can export those and it will be in a spreadsheet form. You can export mailing labels for these contacts, export mailing labels as PDFs. This version is on a spreadsheet. You can mark them as a lead or unmark them as a lead. You can send an email, a one-off email right here to these contacts. If you have Twilio connected to your command, you can send a text message as well. There's a share copy option. This is not super common to use this. This means you literally would share a copy of these contacts with another associate. There's no way for you to track anything that happens between that associate and this contact. So it's literally like giving somebody their phone number or their contact information and letting them put it in their own phone. So not super relevant anymore, but it is there if you need it. So definitely come check out your bulk action menu should you need that in the future. I'm going to show you now how to actually export your whole database and check for duplicates. Remember, I mentioned that the system does have a way to do that. It's over here in the top right-hand corner, the three little dots. These are your export options. Export all owned contacts. This will export it onto a spreadsheet. Export mailing labels into a spreadsheet and export mailing labels into a PDF. These are for all your contacts. The bulk action menu is only for the select contacts that you chose. Okay, that's the difference. But your check for duplicates lives right here. You can click check for duplicates. A scan will begin. It may take several moments depending on your database size. Once it's done, if I hit my refresh button on my browser here, should have a little notification. It shows the database scan is completed. I have 126 pairs of potential duplicates to review. This scanned your command database to find duplicate contacts or contacts that it feels is the same person. So now I can come here to my notifications and click Review Duplicates. It will take me back into my command settings, which you've heard me refer to as your back office, right? And it shows you all the potential duplicates and gives you the opportunity to either ignore them, like you say, no, there's no way this is the same person, right? Well, then you can choose to ignore and it will remove them from being identified as a duplicate. Or maybe you say, yes, this is the same person. You can choose to merge and go through the steps of deciding which contact you keep, which contact you give away or lose, essentially. And you can also make a choice on the fields for these contacts. Which piece of information do you keep and which do you lose? Okay. So you would go through the steps to do that and choose to merge those contacts. So you can do that within command. So if you end up with duplicates, this is how you would get rid of them. I'm going to show you, for orientation, I'm going to bring you back to your contacts tab over here on the left. And I want to show you how to navigate back to that back office place directly so that I can show you what lives back there just in case you ever need it. You probably won't, but just so you know, right here at your name in the top right, you would go to settings. And over here under command settings, you have a contact section. And right here is your contact archive. If you are looking to actually delete contacts, like delete them completely from your command account, you would need to first archive them. Remember the archive option in the bulk action menu? You would archive them. That's the first step. Then they come to live back here in the contact archive. From here, you would have to take that second option and actually formally delete them. There is no undo button when you delete. Please keep that in mind. I highly recommend exporting a copy of your contacts before you start archiving and deleting anybody. That way you have a backup. But once you're back here, if you know for sure, like, okay, we're definitely going to permanently delete these particular contacts, you can do that by coming over here and clicking the trash can for each one, or you can select them and choose delete selected permanently right here. So you can do that and click OK. It grays them out. It takes a minute for the archive to do this, so you can just hit refresh and it should update that view. There you go. So restore puts them back into your command contacts. Trash can deletes them permanently. The other options that you have back here are your database wipe. No touchy, guys. Just don't touch it. Don't recommend it. It is archiving all of your contacts. It would move all of your contacts from your contacts tab into your contact archive. And then if you choose delete all archived contacts, it will permanently wipe your database. There is no undo button. Please don't do it unless you absolutely need to. Contact tags. Your tags live back here. If you want to come and edit them with the pencil, you can. If you want to delete, you can do that as well. But again, you can also add, remove, and create tags right from within your contacts tab, like I showed you earlier. So, but if you want to come back here and organize your tags, you can. Lead management. We have a tip video on how to do this. This is pretty snazzy, guys. You can set up rules for your command that when a lead is received, let's say a lead enters their information onto your KW agent site, you can set up a lead management rule that will auto tag that lead, and you can even have them automatically set up on a smart plan. So definitely consider creating lead management rules. It tells command what to do with your new leads or your new contacts. So come explore that if you want. Check out that tip video. Lead sources lives back here. You can come back here and create more lead sources, edit or delete. Again, probably won't need this, but it's here if you need it. Database cleanup. This is your merge for your duplicates. Remember this view? This is your database cleanup where you can come and view those duplicates and merge them or delete them. Excuse me, merge them or ignore them. Custom fields. This is where you can come and create those custom fields I mentioned earlier, like high giveaway, favorite band, favorite sport. And then last but not least, under My Logs right here, you can come and view your logs for your imports that you've done and also your exports that you've done if you ever need to reference those records. And that is it, guys, for your database overview today. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. If you're watching this back on recording, actually, and you have any questions, you can reach out to us at support@scottleroymarketing.com, and we'll be happy to help you. And if you're here with me live and you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat, and I'll be happy to get those answered for you. Thanks for watching.